It's EB of EB Reads, and today we're going to talk about the book Listen for the Lie by Amy Tintera. It was published in 2024. It reminded me a little bit of The Housemaid, that series of books, because the main character had a little bit of a secret. Secret comes out though. It's a little different than the Housemaid in that there's a presumed guilt when it's not necessarily the case. So I have some questions because of the title. The characters all sound the same to me. I couldn't differentiate between any of them except for Lucy, the main character. We seem to know a little bit more about her and how she operates than we do with the other characters. They all sound pretty flat to me. I don't know why that is. I don't think it's the fault of the author. I think maybe it's just the way that I perceived it. I don't know. What I learned was this was the author's first adult book, so apparently they typically write young adult fiction. So this was the first foray into an adult story. To me, the only thing that made this an adult story was that the kids were legally able to drink, because the drama was all high school stuff. It was all left over from high school, and it continued on into the world that Lucy lives in. It reminds us of how, or the stereotypical small town is, where everybody knows your business and they make judgment calls, and those judgment calls last for a lifetime, even with the young people that don't leave the area. So that's what it seems like to me. This is small town America, stereotypical. Nobody forgives anybody or forgets anything, and everybody's always talking about it, even years after an event occurred. So this story concerns the main character, Lucy, who has been, how do you say this, tried by public opinion and was found guilty of murdering her best friend. Unfortunately, Lucy can't remember anything, and at the time that this happened, the cops found no evidence, so the case went unsolved. Lucy actually left to live a life elsewhere. Grandmother, mom and dad and all that stayed in the same town. Grandma decided she wanted to have a big fat birthday smash and invited Lucy to come down. Well, Lucy's close to her grandmother, so she did. There was a hidden reason for Lucy to come back. Grandma kind of set some stuff up. There is a podcast. There's a guy, I think his name was Ben. I can't remember right off the top of my head. So Ben has a podcast called Listen for the Lie, hence the title of the book. And I thought it was going to have something profound about, and this was where the lie occurred. I was expecting some kind of deep message about that, and it didn't. So I was kind of disappointed with that. As far as the story goes, yeah, it was okay. I did read the whole thing in a few days, but I think maybe I was bored and I just kept reading it. It wasn't horrible at all. I read it as a young adult book. That's how I read it. Something that I didn't like about the way the structure of the chapters themselves. And this is going to sound nitpicky and all that kind of stuff, but the story is written in Lucy's point of view, so it's in first person, and every chapter is titled Lucy. Like, is there anybody else talking? No one else is talking, because this is in first person, so that means everything is Lucy. And I don't know if it was written to differentiate between podcast transcripts. So this author inserted transcripts of Ben's podcast, Listen for the Lie. I think a smart reader would know that that's not coming from Lucy's point of view. So I don't know why every chapter has to be called Lucy. That just seemed redundant, because I kept expecting a point of view from somebody else. If we're going to say this chapter's Lucy, then is that chapter Nina or some other character? And it never came to fruition. The way that they included the podcast transcripts reminded me a lot of The Good Girl's Guide to Murder. That one included the schoolwork that the young lady was working on. So I kind of like that aspect. For me, I probably give this a 3.5 stars simply because I was annoyed. which is ridiculous, but that's how I see it. It wasn't my favorite book. Did it come to a resolution? Yes, but you're still not sure if that's really what happened because you're listening to somebody who had a fragmented memory. They lost all memory of that night. There's references to implanted memories or false memories, and I don't really think that's what those were. Lucy herself says, "I've had false memories." And it's because I talked to so and so. Well, so and so is just telling you stuff. You're just trying to put it in your head to figure out if that's really what happened or not. It's not a false memory. Somebody's telling you stuff and you're just trying to organize that information. So I don't know how that's a false memory. But again, I'm not a psychologist. I don't know how the brain works, apparently. Or obviously, I should say, not apparently, obviously, I don't know how the brain works. I don't think it was horrible for her first foray, the author's first foray into adult fiction. We could call it young adult fiction and not necessarily, teenage fiction. I don't know what the line is for when you are considered a young adult. For ages, would I recommend this for anyone younger than 16? No, I wouldn't because there's sexual situations and violence and that sort of thing in it. I really wouldn't recommend it for 16, maybe, or under 16. Maybe 17 or 18 would be a better choice, just simply because of the violence and the sex and all that stuff that happens in it. I'm not going to give up on the author. Maybe when she comes out with another book, which she might have already. This was released in 2024. She may have come out with another book already, and maybe I'll give that one a try. This one was not my favorite, but that's okay. I don't have to like everything that every publisher publishes, and you may love the book, and that's great. So give me your thoughts down in the comment section. Tell me what you thought if you've read it or if you're planning on reading it. Did you find the characters as flat as I did? Were you expecting a lie to be identified at some point? Somebody to go, this is what it means to listen for the lie. I don't want to really, ding an author's work. They put a lot of work into whatever they're publishing and what they're working on. It just wasn't my cup of tea, and that's perfectly fine. Doesn't have to be. And we don't have to agree on what we thought about the book either. You may give it a 5 stars, and that's awesome. Read, though. That's really important. Just read something. So listen, y'all, support your local library. Make sure you go out and check out a book or put a book on hold or whatever. This is going to save you trips to the bookstore, buying books that you may not even like. Go to the library, try the books out. If you love them, then go ahead and go to the bookstore if you have that kind of extra income that you can spare to purchase a book. I appreciate y'all listening to me, and thank you very much. Have a great day, and go read a book. Bye.